welcome. My name is Erica Glessing, and I am the host of the Happiness Telesummit. I am joined today by an amazing healer who is in France. Welcome, Kacie.
Thank you. I just got a little blip in your audio, but hopefully I'll continue to be able to hear you, Erica.
Yeah, I know. We've just kind of been amazed that we're able to do the Happiness Telesummit from people who join us from all over the world. Dr. Kacie Crisp has been involved in facilitating others' lives and bodies for her entire working life. As a therapist with emotionally disturbed children, chiropractor in the United States and Feinhorn Spiritual Community, and now as a licensed facilitator of Access Consciousness, her great joy is to watch clients expand their lives. She's the author of the Little Black Book on Relationships, about her 28-year relationship with her husband, David Kacie. Oh, how beautiful. They teach about money, they teach about relationships, and today we're going to get into judgment and releasing it, and I'm just so glad to have you here with me today. Welcome.
Thank you, Erica. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, let's jump right in. Let's talk about sort of that whole thing of judgment. And I can look back at parent judgment. I can look back at emotional wounds. And then I have...
okay, you can look back at parent judgment, and I lost the rest.
Okay.
So let me give a little piece about that, Erica, and then I'll ask you some questions. So the thing about judgment is whenever we have a judgment keeps us from receiving anything that doesn't match our judgment. So if you have a judgment about your body, maybe it's the greatness in your body, but you judge it, you can't perceive that. You can only perceive the yuckiness of what you judge. So why don't you tell me what's going on for you with judgment, and we'll see what we can change. I'm sure your issues won't have anything in common with the listeners. I'm joking.
I know. Yeah, I feel very vulnerable, so that's good. So the biggest piece right now I'm still processing is it's ex-husband judgment, and I've done cord cutting, and I've done sending love, and I've done understanding it's just a point of view. It's an interesting point of view. And there's a daily send of judgment against me and my parenting. So I'm still in search of tools where I can feel more peace and not all the fear or whatever that I'm feeling.
So did I hear you correctly? Did you have to deal with him on a daily basis because you have a child in common?
3
Is that
children,
correct?
yes.
3 children, okay. So let's start with the question: what does your ex-husband mean to you? Everything that is comes with that. So you please just try to credit.
Thank you. I really get like the jailer, the incarceration. I get the feeling of my family. My mom's dead, and I feel like I gave him the job of judging me.
So I'm losing you again. Every time your husband has been your eternal jailer, ex-husband, and have been his eternal jailer, all the oaths, vows, swearings, fealties, and communities, he please rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all that.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, and bad, all 9, POD, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Eternal jailer is this program where one lifetime in jail, the next lifetime he puts you in jail, your sexes can be different, but you're always miserable. A lot of times our parents are our eternal jailers, and sometimes we're lucky enough to have a sibling that reinforces it even if the parents are gone, you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if it's making you laugh, there must be something true in it. So what does receiving judgment mean to you? What if you could just, what if you, okay, go ahead.
So I have been kind of reflecting on that, like people judging my body as too big, or people judging parts of my body as too big. And I've been like, just like being thankful for judgment. Like when people send me a judgment, I've been like going, okay, cool, awesome. Like that's going to help me feel okay about my body by letting it through, like letting it pass through. and then it feels easier. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay. So what if every judgment you received with no point of view brought you $5,000 income?
Oh, nice. Cool.
So your ex-husband could be a huge source of income for you.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, you're judging me again. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you. I felt really light.
You're welcome. And the thing about bodies is whatever, bodies and beings, whatever we want to change, we have to first, accept isn't the word, we have to be an allowance of it or it can't change. Because as long as we're resisting something, there's a judgment and then we're going to hold on to things. Like if you want to change something with your kids and you try and get them to change something, the more you want them to change it, the more they dig their heels in.
Right.
Right? So when you get to a point where you have no point of view about whether they change it now or ever, then they have the choice to change. But until we can get to that place of allowance, the other person can't change. Well, it's the same with our body. If you tell your body, oh, this is too fat, this is too big, your body would go, okay, too big, okay, too fat, and produce exactly what you judge.
Right.
So all the judgments you have about your body, will you please destroy and uncreate 10% of them? I won't let you destroy more.
Yes.
Everything that is times the gut, so you are walking bad all nine, pot shorts, scores, and beyond. See, the way to motivate you is to tell you you can't do it, and then in your head, you'll get this little up yours, and you'll do more. But if I say, oh, you have to get rid of them, you go, no, I won't. Okay, don't.
Well,
We're a little insane on the planet.
Yeah, this is fun. Well, I'm feeling a little bit of charge around the kids, and I'm feeling like our audience and our listeners could be drawn to that too, because I'm usually pretty intuitive about what people are thinking and asking. So let's talk a little bit about not judgments our parents gave us, but judgments we put on our kids. So as the school tells us about their grades, or as someone else tells us about they don't like their hair, or as we are processing judgments, what are some tools in that space of raising kids?
Well, my kid, and I have a 24-and-a-half-year-old kid, the best gift I can give him is the capacity to really be himself. And so I came from the question from the moment he was born, really. It was, my attitude was kind of like, oh, who is this being that's come to join us going to turn out to be? I didn't have the point of view, oh, he should be a doctor or a lawyer, or he should be anything. I was more in a curiosity of what he was going to turn out to be. A lot of parents have the point of view that it's their job to keep their kids from making mistakes. Well, didn't you make mistakes? and didn't you learn from them? Somebody in a class on parenting I did said, well, I trust my son to make wise decisions. Well, I cracked up. I mean, was every decision you made when you were a teenager wise? I don't think so. No.
Not really.
We just made, really, exactly. And how did you learn? By making those mistakes. And what if, as an infinite being, you couldn't actually make a mistake, because everything you choose, everything your kid chooses, will create more awareness, and that's what we're actually here for. So if everything creates awareness, how could anything really be a mistake? Now, it might not turn out like you think it should, but that's a different story.
So with me, there's a interesting conflict that I set up between, I was a straight A student in school. My children had trouble getting A's, and I have a lot of conflicting views, because I'm not clear getting A's was that big of a thing in my life. And so I don't, but they want to get A's, and then it's hard for them. Like, I got A's without trying. So there's all this kind of weird stuff around their schoolwork that causes me to want to have like no awareness of their schoolwork, even though I'd love to help them. I don't know. Like, can you feel my like discomfort in this area?
Yeah. So what does their schoolwork mean to you?
When when they can't succeed in that environment, they get a lot of there's a lot of pressure and uncomfortability in their lives. So I want to give them whatever they need so they can not have it be so painful.
Okay. So in a way, you want to protect them from the judgments of others.
Yes. Thank you. Wow.
Okay. I've traveled all over the world and from South Africa all over the U.S. The schools today are so clueless about what's going on with our kids. You know, I was an A student, it was easy for me. You were an A student, it was easy for you. But, you know, we were more easily controlled than these kids are. And what the schools are teaching is so irrelevant to what's going on with these kids, you know. And
Right.
my son went to an expensive private school, and I'm like, well, why don't you just concentrate and learn this stuff that's being handed to you? But he used the same energy to see how he could manipulate his teachers to do as little work as possible. I'm like, to me, that's a lot of work. Why don't you just do the work? No, he'd rather manipulate them. And from 2nd grade to 12th grade, his evaluations always said the same thing. Aaron's work was excellent. The book was not complete. I mean, you could have put 2nd grade and 12th grade over each other. The comments were the same. But that was his choice. So, okay. You know? And for the first, he went to a high school, and I heard when he went that they spent 2 or 3 hours a night on homework. And I'm like, my kid hasn't spent 2 or 3 hours reading anything in his whole life. How's he going to make it through this high school? And so I like monitored him for the first 2 or 3 weeks. And then I realized, you know, high school was really boring the first time. And it's way more boring the second time. So I'm like, you know what? It's your life. It's your education. Go for it. And so I concentrate on giving your kids tools to deal, you know, they're probably right. The teachers probably are insane. What they're requiring them to do is stupid and irrelevant. So teach them tools to deal with it. Ask them, okay, when they're taking a test, tap into the energy of the person that wrote the test and pull the right answer out of their head.
Nice.
Flow love at the teacher, and just flow love and tell them what a wonderful teacher they are. If they turn that on every day, the teacher will suddenly find themselves liking them better.
True.
That'll help a lot too.
That's a really good tool. That's a really good tool. Thank you. Yeah. I was telling one of my daughters that my math teacher in high school, I would go in the mornings. I was an early bird anyways. And he would just give me so many answers because I'd go in the mornings. It's like I'd work on a few things with him. And then he was just so excited to have the attention of that he would, I always got 99s in advanced trigonometry. It was like, just because I gave him a little bit of extra attention, and then he would just not be able to not send me all the answers.
Right. So your kids can do that.
Yeah.
Just pull the answers out of the teacher's head. And another trick they can use is if they'll ask the teacher a question that they already know the answer to, and have the teacher explain it, and then tell the teacher how wonderful she is or he is, that'll help too.
Thank you.
So there are some tools they can use.
Those are nice.
And if they have someone, if they have someone that's really annoying, a teacher, for example, that picks on them or something, or if they want to get away with stuff, another tool they can use is to make themselves invisible. If you just make yourself as big as the universe, like you're blowing up a hot air balloon and make yourself infinite, people won't be able to see you. So if they want to get away with something, just make themselves infinite. It has many uses, this tool.
I love it. So let's tie some of this into happiness. So I don't think we're going to I don't know if we have time to do any money. I'm feeling like we could do a little bit more relationship. So maybe if you'd like to share, since you love to teach relationship and you have classes about relationship that people can take from you, why don't you share with me some insights or something that people can bring, tying in sort of relationship and happiness.
Okay. Well, people always think a relationship is going to bring them happiness, which puts a pretty big burden on the person that they want to have the relationship with. If I don't have any happiness in my universe, and you have to bring all the happiness to me, I mean, that's kind of a big job, you know? What if, right?
Your job.
Right.
Take be happy or you're gone, baby.
Right. And how often does that occur? A lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what if instead people looked at, oh, what could a relationship add to my life? Create my life as whole and complete on its own, and then a relationship is something that I add to my whole different thing. The person's free to bring who they are without having to be something, some expectation that I have.
What if you're in a relationship with someone and then you find yourself changing? What are some tools you can use to sort of, if you're in, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What if you're in a relationship and you find yourself dynamically changing? What are some tools that can bring to nurture that relationship?
Well, it's actions of the other person. And one of the things that happens is people create their connections between each other with their judgments. So if you start, and so most people have everyone, their exes, their kids, their siblings, they have everybody in kind of like box, and they've judged that that's who you are. So you start to change, they're going to start to be uncomfortable because you don't fit in that box. When you're around those people, you should just flow energy, ask energy to them that's on the same vibration that they're used to, and then it won't upset their apple cart quite so much. And you often be wild and fun, comfort to them that, oh, it really is the same person until they're willing to change, if they're willing to change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but can you just sort of say it in a little bit of a different way again, because you cut out about half of it?
Okay. So people create connections with bodies. So the people who are around you in relationships, they're used to the vibration that your body is. And when you go and undergo dramatic change, they get kind of confused. They don't know where they are, and disorienting to them, and they tend not to like it. So if you'll ask your body to flow the vibration to them that they are used to connecting to, it can provide comfort to them, and they won't notice all the wild and crazy things and ways you're changing.
How much fun is
Manipulation
that?
101. It is. Totally. And it works. Get upset. You didn't change too much. You get to do what you wanted to do without upsetting them. It's like it works for everybody.
I love it. Thank you so much. How much fun is that? Let me think of another question for you. You're so much fun. Tell me, okay, here's one that I think about. They'll say, I'll read, okay, like I have a book coming out on expansion, right? The energy of expansion. And one of the things almost everyone talks about in the book is getting the energy of what you're seeking. So you don't have to know everything about it, but to get the energy of what you're seeking. And I say, okay, but what if I can't even fathom something that good? Like, what if like my life's already good and then I'm looking at like growing it bigger, having it better, and I haven't had it better? Like I've had things that have been pretty sucky. So how is it that money's showing up, so maybe we're
you could ask a question. I've lost your audio again. You could ask a question. You could say, how could this turn out even better than I imagined possible?
Oh,
or how much fun can I have? Much fun, wrong with the question, how much fun can I have with something? So there's a couple. So I wonder if you're thinking that you have to get the energy really, really specifically. Like, universe, I want $1 million to show up on my bank account by Friday. That's really too specific of a question, because the universe has to rearrange a few of the other people on the planet to bring you that $1 million. So if you give it a deadline that's too short, it tends not to work. So is there something, okay, so how many barriers do you have to what you can imagine that's greater than you have now that keep you from being willing to perceive, know, be, and receive that? Everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it all.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, and bad, all nine, pot, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And if you don't even know what you'd like, you can copy other people. You can say, like, you look at me and go, oh, Kacie travels all the time. I'd love to do that. What would it take for me to have that? and, oh, so-and-so does this, I'd like to have that. You can just look at people's lives that have aspects you would like to have, and that in the energy in front of you that you're pulling all the energy into to create, and you'll get a feeling for it. And then when you get a feel for what that energy is, anything that has that energy, you want to check it out and follow up on it. Call the person back, email them, send them this wild Facebook message and say, oh, I'm doing this happiness summit. I want to talk to you. You know, whatever.
I'm having so much fun with you, Kacie. Tell me something else in an area of, I'm going back to bodies. So I don't know why, but I'm going back to bodies. Tell me something that you get asked a lot, or something that like commonly sticks people, something that you find like if you're going to be in 17 different workshops, you might get asked this like 14 times or something. Is there something like that in bodies that you want to bring?
What an interesting question. It's interesting. The question I've lived with when I was a chiropractor always was like, what else is possible for bodies? It was about getting out of the limitations that we've imposed on bodies that don't actually have to be real. We just buy that they are real. But I get asked a lot of questions. Well, what can I do for this disease? What can I do for that disease? And all that's really very linear, and it's really in cause and effect. What if we didn't have as our target just to get out of this disease? What if our target was to experience how great a time we could have being in this body? So many spiritual approaches say, oh, go beyond the body, transcend the body. But, you know, if you think of all the fun stuff on planet Earth, it all requires bodies. You know, sex, eating, traveling. I'm in Aix-en-Provence, which is just beautiful, walking down the street, seeing the beautiful houses, you know, tasting great food. All that stuff requires bodies. You can't do it without a body, you know? So I would say, what would it take for all the ways that we've decided and judged that being in a body is a limitation, for us to all, as a planet, 7 billion people on the planet Earth, get that, oh, that was a lie we bought. We don't have to buy that anymore. I would love to see that change.
My whole body relaxes when you say that. So
cool.
That's a really cool vision. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talk about in my classes about this. It's like if there's a zero line, and if people don't have enough going on in their life, if they don't have enough to create, then they'll create these they'll have to fight and overcome, and that brings them below the zero line. And then they have to struggle to get to the zero line, have their surgery, get over it or what, and then they fall down again. But if you're creating a life that goes beyond zero to how magnificent can it be, what else can I add, you're too busy to have all that stuff bother you, and all of those complaints tend to go away. So what if the problems people listening were having with their bodies were due to not having enough going on in their life, rather than some infectious disease or genetic cause or something like that? What could you add to your life that would be so much more fun that you forgot about whatever this complaint was?
Thank you. I can use that in a couple of places in my life.
Cool.
Let's go. Now let's talk, since we're having so much fun, and I'm loving being ADD with you, and you're really helping that. So let's go into money now again, and let's talk a little bit about stickiness there and what you've seen to shift the energy about money in people's lives.
Well, almost everybody makes money significant. It's really helpful me to travel, because every place else in the world other than the US that you go, the money is not green. You know, it comes in all these pretty colors, it's different shapes, and so it's like, oh, it's euros, oh, it's pounds. It's a little more like monopoly money, so you can't take it seriously. You know? If you want to get over your money stuff, just start traveling and the money won't be real. I mean, we say that if anything you make significant, you make it greater than you. But what if your awareness and your consciousness were greater than anything? Would there be any problems you couldn't handle? No, but people so often make money significant. Why don't you choose, what would you like your life to be like? And choose that and create that and let the money follow. Because money likes to come to where there's fun being had, you know? If you want to have money and then life will work once you get the money, that's like inviting money to your party, but there's no music, there's no dancing, there's no food, there's no booze, but you should come to my party anyway. No, create your life like a party, and money just shows up.
I was asking one of my clients about money, And I asked him to show me what he does with it, and he crinkles it up. Like, he'll take a piece of money and he'll crinkle it up and he'll shove it somewhere. And I go, your money's feeling a little bit sad about how you're treating it. Could you give it a little bit of different treatment? And I go, could you talk to it?
Yeah, sure.
Talk about that consciousness and everything, and how you talk to things like money, and talk to things like books, and talk to things like products.
Oh, sure. Lots of things talk to us. And you may think, oh, she's nuts. Nothing talks to me. But certain things, if you start out with just hearing the things that do talk to you, then more things will start to talk to you. Like, well, one talent that I had for a long time was when I walk into a room and there's a plant that needs water, I have to give that plant water. It's just, the awareness of that plant needing water is just excruciating to me. And I used to have a chiropractic office, and I sublet rooms, and they would have plants in them. And the doctors that were leasing for me would be all day long with this plant that needed water. And I was like, how can you stand that? Because to me, the plant was screaming at me.
Yeah.
Now there's plenty of things that don't talk to me, but just start with what talks to you, because we all have things that we can talk to. And if you want things to start talking to you, you can say, okay, if I buy you, will you make me money? And then you're giving the thing its job, so it has to go to work for you.
That sounds really interesting. Explain that just a little bit more. And again, we're having some audio bunks, so there was a little audio bubble right there. So just do that one again.
Okay. So if you one way that you can apply things talking to you and money is before you buy things, say, okay, if I buy you, will you make me money? Now, things can make you money in different ways. If you buy a shirt, for example, it's probably not going to be something you're going to be able to sell it for more money later on, because pretty much once you go out of the store, your clothes is worth 10 cents on the dollar. But if you buy that shirt and it makes you feel like $1 million, then that you're feeling like $1 million will bring money to you. So it's not always linear. I have this stool that one person's told, this African carved stool from Cameroon in 1850. And one person told me that I should save that for retirement. It could be worth $1 million or more dollars. And he actually showed me in Page and Sotheby's where something like that had sold for that much.
Wow.
Now, when I bought that, I walked into this antique store in London, and it reminded me of someone's energy that I really love. And it's like, well, this store has cool, weird stuff like he collects. And then I had the sense that over in this corner, there was something that was kind of like talking to me. I didn't even put it in that many words. And it was London, so it's like a really crowded shop, and there was other people in it, and I couldn't get back there, so I waited for them to clear out. And then I went back there, and it was like, and I was talking about this, I was talking about that. It's like, oh, this stool. And the stool I bought for 700 pounds. So if I sell it for, even if I sell it for $10,000, I made a huge profit. So I don't know what I'll sell it for, but that was an example of something really clearly talking to me. Now, that thing that talked to me also came out of my life, because in my traveling, well, I'm always traveling, in my days traveling as a student after graduate school, those traveling backpack days, I traveled around Africa. And so I got this feel for what was real African art and what wasn't. And so that information and knowledge helped me sense what's airport art, which is trash that's never going to be worth more, and what was real art. So everyone listening has things that you know from your life experience. How can you use that life experience and what you know to generate money? Probably not African art, but who knows what they know?
Who knows what you know?
Right. You probably don't even know what you know. So what if everything that keeps you from knowing what you know, would you destroy and uncreate all that?
Yes.
Right, one thing bad, all nine, puck shorts, boys, and beyonds.
You know what that makes me think of is television. And so I've had a lot of hits on television the last year, and I actually created an 8-part TV series. And then I got like really cloudy around it, and I got very foggy about it, and I basically squished all the shows I'd built. And maybe when you just said, like, I think one of the things I was doing is I wasn't letting in my awareness. I was trusting a team with the production of it, and I wasn't trusting me. Something was going on there.
Here's something that happens. You can tell me if this applies to you. But when we're creating a project, and you like your TV show or your series, you're putting energy into it probably every day, and you're thinking about it, and you're working on it. And then there can come a point where you try and contact it, and you can't find it anymore. And what people often say is, oh, the energy went out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't say that, because it's not a question, it's a conclusion. What actually happens is that TV show is an entity. It's an energy and has a life force of its own. When it takes on its own life force, then what it requires from you is not the same energy we're putting in, but it requires a contribution. So you can just ask it, oh, do you require a contribution from me today? And put the energy in, rather than saying, oh, the energy went out of it. But when we don't realize the difference there, that's why a lot of people get right to the finish line and then they give up, rather than going through the ribbon and creating what they put all this work into. So I don't know if that resonates to you or not, but what would the TV show like to be now?
I got on the cutting room floor.
Oh dear. Is that you? Is that you or the TV show that wants that?
I don't know. I think I'm too close to it. I cut the shows in September and October of last year. Mm-hmm. And they're on hard drives in various locations. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. I'm going to just keep having conversations with it and see if it wants to evolve, generate, be created, or if it doesn't. And I'm okay with yeah. But you just did give me an awareness of my knowledge of what is quality TV. And I love that. So thank you for reminding me of that knowledge and that awareness, because that's something that because I grew up on a TV set, that I have kind of like your African art.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're listening in the audience, kind of go through your mind and see if something will wake up for you based on what we've just been talking about, that maybe there's an awareness of your own brilliance that maybe you've kind of not wanted to see. Mm-hmm.
Right. Often the thing that will make us the most money, we denigrate the most. We disvalue it. We devalue it the most, because we think if we can do it, anyone can do it. And so we don't notice this amazing we have. So what do you do that no one else does? Lots of money.
Yeah. So tell us what you're up to, and you have an offer for our listeners, and then tell us where we can find you and take classes from you and learn from you.
Sure, absolutely. My offer for the listeners is I have a 6-call teleseries called Psychic Vampires, Blackmailers, and Leeches. And it's about how to deal with the energy of those that make you unhappy in your life, by requiring that you make them happy, but they make you unhappy. So that's a dynamite call. And then I have a evening class in your relationship with your body. The Blackmailers is $197. I just looked on my website. I can't believe it's that cheap, but that's the price at the moment. And the relationships call is $150. And then I'm offering a session for people who will set it up for 2 weeks in April. And the value of that's $300. So it's $647, all for $197. So how does it get any better than that?
Wow.
That's my offer.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. And if you'd like, share a little bit more about the energy vampire thing. That sounded pretty sexy. Not that I have any of those gremlins in my life.
Right. Well, emotional blackmail, for example, the emotional blackmail is, I'm upset, it's your fault, you have to do something about it. So I had someone in a class recently who was upset about the certificate she was given for completing the class, which the certificate isn't even required. It's like a gift that we give. And she got the certificate, and she didn't like the kind of paper that the certificate was printed on. And so she had this hissy fit. And it's like, wait a minute, who's the person with the expectation? She has an expectation of what the certificate should look like. If I don't meet your expectation, whose problem is that? So she just got herself, I mean, it was just the most trivial example in the world, but it's an example. And we actually talked about it in class, and it's actually how this person operates all over the place. So it gives people
when you're on the other side of this phenomena, and someone has given you the job of making them happy for something when it's impossible, then
Right.
then what are some strategies for letting go of all that drama that they're carrying around and throwing at you?
Well, you have to realize it's not your job to make them happy. You be okay and not buy into it. Because if you try and satisfy them, they're going to have another demand and another demand and another demand. It will be endless. And you actually, to really be free of emotional blackmail, you have to be willing to walk away from the relationship or allow it to totally change. Because the person that's controlling you with their emotions thinks that they're so valuable to you that they can control you.
Nice.
And if you're completely in yourself at peace and willing to say no, then get free of that. So I've been experiencing this a lot in my life now, so there may be more I can do with that. And people can find my classes on the Access Consciousness website. Look under D for Dr. Kacie, Kacie, Crisp, and you can see my schedule of classes. I'm doing the core classes, Bars Foundation Level 1 in the Netherlands, the end of this month, and I have some others scheduled in Israel and San Francisco, where I live, and I can't keep track of them all. So just Dr. Kacie Crisp, DrKacie, Crisp, CRISP, accessconsciousness.com.
Yeah, we can put that link on your homepage too. Thank you so much for coming today. It was beautiful to have you. I feel like we had so much fun. I love being all over the map on all the different things. I know that listeners were coming through me with questions, so I feel very safe in knowing that that we were able to pick that beautiful brain of yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So just keep asking how much fun you can have, Erica, and I know that that won't contribute to your happiness. I'm joking.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome. This was fun. How's it getting better than that?